Welcome in. Today we are looking at a Bond casting rumour that hit the internet earlier this week in the form of a name that has not been floated for Bond 26 previously. Now, up until this point, there's been a lot of speculation that Amazon were looking for a younger Bond, someone in their 20s. People along the lines of Tom Holland, Jacob Elordi and Harris Dickinson, all of whom are very, very young at the end of their 20s, about 29-ish. And that seemed to be the way that the rumour mill was going for this movie. So earlier this week, The Hollywood Reporter floated a new name, a rumoured new name, someone that has potentially already screen tested for the part of Bond. And if this is true, then it shows that things are potentially further along than we actually thought. Now, the person who was named is Scott Rose-Marsh, a name I've never heard of. I have never seen any of this actor's work, so it is something that, should this become a thing, I think I will have to go back and explore his previous works. Now, he is a relatively new actor. I believe he's only been acting for about 5 or 6 years, so he doesn't have a massive body of work behind him. But he is best known for his role in The Craze, Code of Silence, and in The Wolves of War. So they are potentially a couple of works I would have to go back and check out, because if this guy eventually does become our new Bond, we want to kind of get an idea of what he's like in terms of his acting style and what he would potentially bring to the role. Now, one attribute that definitely stands out, and should he be cast, and I stress should he be cast, because at the moment I'm taking this with a I'm going to take it with a bottle of salt, because it does seem very early to be screen testing actors, but should he be cast, he would be the first red-headed Bond in history. Now, as we know, James Bond is a dark-haired character, and Daniel Craig, when he was cast, caused a lot of stirs, being the first blonde Bond. And Casino Royale took a lot of heat before and during production, before it actually came out, and people loved it, and people really warmed to Daniel Craig's performance. Scott Rose-Marsh, being red-headed, could potentially cause similar stirs. Now, already there have been comments online about him having red hair, but I genuinely don't see that as too much of a problem. Now, let's be honest, before I jumped on to record this video, I did a quick Google search, and it does appear that he has dyed his hair for parts in the past, which, as we say, actors tend to do, so he very easily could look the part for James Bond, certainly with the dark hair. He does have that sort of look about him that he could quite easily portray the sort of literary style of James Bond. Now, of course, this all comes back to a Hollywood Reporter's article stating that Rose-Marsh has screen tested for the part of Bond. And if true, their article goes on to say that he read lines from GoldenEye to do the screen test, which, again, this is a whole new production company. With Eon, we know that they used to favour the old From Russia with Love scenes, but obviously with Eon being out of the picture now, and should this rumour be true, reading lines from GoldenEye, because it's one of the more modern Bond films, even though it's 30 years old this year. Can you believe that? GoldenEye is 30 years old. I can't believe it. It does not seem 5 minutes since that actually hit in the movie theatres, and it prompted me to actually get my Omega Seamaster watch, which I love, because that is, for me, it is one of the sort of archetypal Bond watches, and I absolutely love that watch. But should this rumour be true, and I keep digressing, he was given one piece of information, and that was, don't impersonate a previous James Bond, which I think, looking forward, is probably a good thing, right? He obviously would want to bring his own sort of flavour to James Bond, and I don't think anybody would want him copying the Craig style, the Brosnan style, the Connery style, etc. They would want the new actor to be their version of James Bond, because every actor previously has brought something to the role. So good advice there, if this is true. And what more can we say? If this is a true bit of information, then things are really moving on this role. Apparently the screen test happened back in June, which, again, looking at the timeline, would have been around the time when Denis Villeneuve was announced as being the director for the movie. So in terms of the timeline, it kind of does fit. The article also goes on to state that he may have read lines from Stephen Knight's Bond script, which, again, if true, that is further along than we were expecting. So that part does seem to me a little bit of a stretch, but potentially we could actually be moving towards having a Bond cast. We've already got the team in place, the producers, the writer, the director. Things definitely, should this rumour be true, do seem to be progressing at some speed, which leads me to think we actually could get a new Bond movie by maybe 2027, which would be absolutely fantastic. But if this is true, then I think we're all going to have to go back and see what this actor is like. And it also does mean that Scott Marsh, he's 37 years old, so he is older than the rumours suggested that they were looking for someone younger. And with that age, it certainly feels more like when Craig was brought on board, more so than potentially Brosnan. But it's happening. Things seem to be moving. The rumour mill is cranking up. And even if this proves not to be true, it's getting me excited because things are starting to move on Bond 26, and that can only be a good thing. But enough about me and my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this casting news, because let's talk about it. This could potentially be the first movement on our next James Bond movie. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you think there's any truth to it? Do you think it is just a slow news week and the Hollywood Reporter wanting just to make a story? Or do you think there's any element of possible truth to it? But thank you very much for watching. I'm Ian. If you do like the content, please hit that subscribe button. It really does mean a lot. Let's grow this channel. I've got new videos coming every single week, and let's open the discussion. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.